Hey everybody! It is great to be back with you in person in class, but you all found the videos from my time out so helpful that we are going to keep doing them for our reviews. So today we're going to do our Chapter 1 mid-chapter review. This quiz is coming up next week. So let's talk about what you need to know. Everything we have learned so far, all of those notes that should be in your binder, will be covered on this quiz. So that includes number names and standard form. So you're going to have to write your numbers in words and translate written word numbers into standard form numbers. Now, you will also need to know how to add big numbers, subtract, multiply, and divide. We will need to round our numbers, so rounding and estimation. That's where we round our numbers before applying an operation to find out what the answer will be. So we have rounding and estimation. We will have area and perimeter on the test. And we will have some word problems. So those are the major keys that you should be studying for your test, or for your quiz, I'm sorry. So when we do a quiz in math class, we will do a review together. But that review should not be the only studying you do. You should also be studying on your own, whether that's reviewing your notes, doing practice problems from the book, coming to the Math Center for extra help. Those are all great ways to study on your own. So, now that we've covered what will be on the quiz, let's do some review together. Now, while we're doing this, I encourage you to pause the video for each question and try to answer it on your own first. That way, you can see if your answer is correct or not. So we're going to start off with the basics. We are going to talk about writing our numbers in different forms. So let's say I give you the number 13,506. So if that's the word form that you are given, remember that every time you see one of the place value periods, that is where you add a comma. So the period that I see in this word form is 1,000. So that's where my comma is going to go. And I'm going to just look at what comes before and after it as separate chunks of my number. So the first thing I see is 13. Then the word 1,000, so I put the comma. And then I have 506. So I'm going to write 506. So that would be the word or the standard form for this word form. Now, let's say we have to work backwards and I give you the number 273,614. And I ask you to write this in words. Well, similar to how we first looked for the periods in the word form, we're going to look for the periods in the number form, the standard form. And we know where the periods are based on the commas. So we have 1 comma. That means this is the ones period and this is the thousands period. All right? So I'm going to look at each chunk separately. First, I see 273. So that's what I'm going to write. 273. And then I write my period name. The period, we identified there's only one comma. That first comma represents the thousands. So that would be 73,000. And then I read the next chunk, 614. So that's what I'm going to write, 614. Now, I've had some great questions from some of your classmates about whether or not you can write just the number 14 here in your word form. But remember that we are translating a language. It might not be Spanish or French or Mandarin, but it is another language, the language of numbers. So we can't only half translate it. So if you are being asked to write your number in word form, the whole thing, including all the number names, need to be in word form. All right? Now, the other thing you'll need to know is your different place values. So please review that place value chart that you were given. We need to know up to the 100 millions. All right, so that's our first section, our place value, or number names and standard form and place value. Now, the next thing that you're going to see on the test is your basic operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So we're going to try some together. What I would love you to do is pause the video after I write the question and try it on your own. So the first one we're going to do is 12,468, 3,211, and 1,988. We are going to add those together. So make sure when you're adding that you stack it vertically, even if it's written horizontally side to side. We need to stack it to do our operation. So once we stack it, then we're going to take it one chunk at a time. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 8 more is 17. Carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 1 more is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 9 is 16. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 more is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then 1 plus nothing else in my 10,000s column means I just bring down the 1. Make sure to add in your comma and always circle your final answer. So that's our addition. Let's mix it up a little bit and try some subtraction. So the first subtraction we're going to do is 986 minus 48. Now, when you are subtracting, you need to pay close attention to whether or not you have enough value in the top number to be able to take away the bottom number from it. If not, if this top number is smaller than the bottom number, you have to regroup. So we're going to borrow from the 8, make it a 7. This will become 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. 7 minus 4 is 3. 9 minus nothing is 9. Now, remember, if it's subtraction, we are always going to check our work with addition. And we're going to do that by going from the bottom to the top. So we start with 938, and then now we're using addition to check our subtraction because they are opposite operations. So we're going to add the next number, 48. And what we want to see happen is we want our answer, our sum, to be the 986 that we started with. So we add 8 plus 8 is 16. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Bring down the 9. Our answer is 986. Beautiful. So we ended up back at the number we started with. So our final answer, 938, is correct. Now let's step it up a little bit and do one of the trickier subtraction problems. And you will see one of these on the quiz. We have 10,000 minus 1,786. Now, the first thing I notice is I got all these zeros up here. That's going to make it a little trickier because I'm going to have to regroup across my zeros. So I first notice I can't do 0 minus 6. So I go to my neighbor to borrow, but he has nothing. So I keep going until I get to a digit. So that's not 0. So this 1, I'm going to borrow from it and make this a 10. But then I need to borrow again, so this becomes a 9 to make this one a 10. Then I need to borrow for the next 0, so this becomes a 9. And my tens place becomes a 10. But the ones place still needs to borrow, so this becomes another 9. And the last 0 is now a 10. Now we are ready to subtract. 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 1 is 8. Now, before I circle my answer, I'm going to check my work. So remember, we're going to add from the bottom to see if we can get to the top. So we're going to do 8,214 plus 1,786. 4 plus 6 is 10. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. So we got back to our starting number, so our answer is correct. I don't even have to wait for my teacher to grade my test to know that I aced it if I check all my answers. So that's adding and subtracting. You are also going to need to multiply and divide. So let's review those steps. If any of this feels difficult, then I would like you to do one of two things. Practice some more on your own with practice problems, or come see me. I will be in my room every morning waiting to help you out, so come on by. I am also available during advisory time. So to multiply, we're going to do 7 times 2, multiply your first place values, that's 14. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 is 17. Now we've multiplied everything in the top by 2, so we're done with it. We cross it out, and when we cross it out, we remember to always add a 0. That 0 is super important. Then we move over to the 5. 5 times 7 is 35. And 8 times 5 is 40, plus 3 more is 43. So my last step, add my 2 partial products together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 5 plus 7 is 12. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And 4 plus nothing is 4. So our answer is 4,524. So that's our multiplication. Now, remember we said addition is the opposite of subtraction? Well, what do you think the opposite of multiplication is? Division. So we're going to do division next. Now, let's try 4,496 divided by 8. Okay, so when we're dividing, we first see, can the number we're dividing by go into the first digit? 8 cannot go into 4. 4 is too small, so we put the 0 up top, and we move over to the next number. So can 8 go into 42? So 8 goes into 44, sorry. Can 8 go into 44? And it can go into 44 5 times. To make sure that that's the right number, I now multiply. 8 times 5 is 40. And then I subtract to find my remainder. And my remainder is 4. Once I get my remainder, I move over and bring down the next number. Now I ask myself, can 8 go into 49? And the answer is yes. It can go in 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract. Remainder 1. Bring down the 6. And lastly, I ask myself, can 8 go into 16? Yes, it can, 2 times. So I check that. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract. 0 is my remainder. So my answer is 562. But remember, we always want to check our work. And now we said the opposite of multiplication is division and the opposite of division is multiplication. So to check it, we're going to multiply the outside numbers, our quotient, by our divisor. So we're going to do 562 times 8. So 2 times 8, 16. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 1 is 49. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 more is 44. So we got back to the number we started with. So our answer, 562, is correct. All right, so we have done some of our addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Practice this more on your own because there are a few questions like this on the test. Now, the next topic we want to remember to practice is our rounding and estimating. So to do that, you need to know your place values. Let's say I give you the number 15,764, and I ask you to round to the hundreds place. Well, we look at our hundreds place, and then we look to the neighbor next door to decide if we are going to raise the score or let it rest. The 6 is 5 or more, so we know we're going to raise the score. That means the 7 is going to raise by 1. We're going to add 1 to it. So that 7 will become an 8. And then we keep everything in front of the rounding place. So everything in front of the 7 we keep. And then everything after the 7 turns to zeros. If it says round to the hundreds place, you should not have any digits other than 0 after the hundreds place in your answer. Now let's try another one. 259,642. And this time we're going to round to the thousands place. All right, so same thing, but this time we are looking to the thousands place. So I'm going to underline that. And then I'm going to look to my neighbor next door, the 6. Well, 6 is 5 or more, so we're going to raise the score of the 9 up. But to do that, we're going to add 1, and 9 plus 1 is 10. Well, we can't have 2 digits in one place value. So we're going to take that 1 and add it to the neighbor next door, just like if we were adding and had to regroup. So the 2 is going to stay the same. We have to take the 1 from the 10 and add it to the 5, so the 5 becomes a 6. The 9 has become 10, so the 0 is still in the thousands place. And then everything after the thousands place turns to 0. So your answer would be 260,000. Now, let's do a word problem. So suppose that you scored 87, 97, 100, 79, 75, and 82 on your biology tests. Good job. Round each score to the nearest 10, so always identify where you're rounding to estimate your total score. So I'm going to start with my numbers. I've got 89, 97, 100, 79, 75, and 82. Now, one of the easiest mistakes to make in a word problem like this is to forget to include one of the numbers that they list. Maybe it's written on the next line or it's separated a little bit. So always double check you have all your numbers. Now, it said to round to the nearest 10. So we're gonna round each of these numbers to the nearest 10. 89 rounds to 90. 97, well, the 7 is 5 or more, so we raise the score of the 9 up and it becomes a 10. So it rounds to 100. 100 to the nearest 10 is 100. 79 rounded to the nearest 10 is 80. 75 rounded to the nearest 10 is also 80. And 82 rounded to the nearest 10 is 80. So now that I've rounded, I can estimate by adding these together. First column, my ones column is all zeros. That's why I've rounded. Look how easy that is. That's the point of estimating. It's going to help us identify if our answer is reasonable, and it's going to help us make finding an answer easier. Now remember, if we're looking for an exact number, we don't want to estimate. But if they say estimate your total score, this is what we're going to do. So now my tens place. So we have 9 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 more is 24, plus 9 is 33. Carry the 3 over, and then I add my hundreds place. 3, 4, 5. So my estimated answer is 530. All right, so that's our estimation. Now, we're going to talk about area and perimeter. So these will be included on the quiz. Let's look at this first figure. And we want to find the perimeter of this figure. So we're going to look at what our side lengths are, because our perimeter is the sum of all side lengths. But if we look at our figure, we're missing 2 of those side lengths. So we're going to have to do a little math before we can add this all up. Now, the good news is we have some clues. This is similar to a rectangle. So I know the sides, if I were to extend it, the sides would be the same length as the opposite sides. So that means that this side here will be the same length as this side if we were to stretch it up. Now, do we know how much that part is? Even though it's not labeled? We do, because it's labeled over here. And these are the same length. So this is 3 feet. Well, to get my total length on this side, I'm going to add this missing part plus the existing part. 3 plus 5 is 8. So this side is 8 feet. Now I'm going to do the same for the bottom. On the bottom I see I have the 8 feet section of my shape, but I'm missing this part right here. Now, luckily, they've labeled it for me. This length is 4 feet. So this total length would be 8 plus 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. So this length is 12. Now we have all of our measurements. So to find my perimeter, I'm going to add 8 plus the 4 feet here, plus the 3 feet here, plus 5, plus 12, and then don't forget your last side, which is 8. Now we're going to add these all together. 8 plus 4 is 12. 3 plus 5 is 8. 12 plus 8 is 20. Okay, so now I can add these a little bit easier. 12 plus 8 is 20. plus the 20 here. So our total perimeter is 40 feet. All right, now that we've done perimeter, let's switch it up and do an area question. Now, the thing to remember about area is that it's multiplication. Perimeter is addition, area is multiplication. Length times width. So for this figure right here, to find the area, we look at our length and our width. Our width is 4 inches. Our length is 8 inches. So to find our area, we are going to multiply 4 times 8. And that gives us 32. So the area is 32, but I need to always label it. So I'm going to look, it's inches, so it'll be inches. And if it's area, area is a two-dimensional measurement. So we have to square our inches. So it'll be inches squared. And that's how we're going to write our answer. Alrighty, folks. That is our review. Remember, you are supposed to also practice on your own. So now is time to practice. If you aren't sure how to practice, come see me at the Math Center. I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for your attention and your hard work in class. I know it's going to pay off on this first quiz. So good luck studying, and I will see you next week.